Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful semi-naked cake like this one. The beauty of a semi-naked cake is that it has the same rustic look as a naked cake, but the thin layer of frosting seals the cake, locking in the moisture so your cake doesn't dry out. First, make sure your layers are pretty. Trim the tops so every layer is level. Since your frosting is going to be very, very thin, every imperfection will be visible, so you want your layers to be the same thickness and sitting level on top of each other. Place your first layer on a cake board, securing it with a spoonful of frosting. Now add your filling. If your semi-naked frosting is going to be white, you'll probably want the filling to look white as well, so you can put whatever filling you're using in the center of the cake, and then pipe a ring of white frosting around it. Try to place each layer exactly on top of the one below, so your cake sits straight. You can also pipe the ring and then apply the filling inside the ring, but it's a bit more fiddly, so I prefer to do it the other way around. After you've built your cake, check it from every angle to make sure the layers are lined up straight. I'm making a 3-tier cake, so I'm starting by building all 3 tiers. This one has white filling, so I'm not bothering with a ring of white buttercream around the edge. I'm just using my offset spatula to spread the filling all the way up to the edges of the cake. If you're finding this tutorial useful, please subscribe to my channel. I post new cake decorating tutorials every week. Now chill your cake for at least an hour in the fridge or 30 minutes in the freezer. This firms it up so it's easier to cut. Now we're going to trim the cake so that it's perfectly rounded and has smooth sides. Using a serrated knife, trim down to take off the edge of any layers sticking out of the cake, and then hold your knife vertically to trim all the way around the cake. Use scissors to cut your cake board so it's the same size as the cake. If your cake has warmed up while you trimmed it, chill it again before frosting it. Now use an offset spatula to apply your frosting to your cake. I'm starting with my biggest cake tier. Being generous with the frosting will make crumbs less likely to pull off on your spatula. It also helps to have a cold cake, because cold cakes are firmer, so less crumbly. Once you've covered your cake with frosting, use a frosting scraper to take off any excess frosting. You can decide how much frosting you want based on how visible you want the cake underneath to be. You can use your frosting scraper to pull frosting from the tops of the sides of the cake onto the top surface of the cake, or you can use an offset spatula. To finish, I like to use my offset spatula with the tip in the center of the cake, spinning my turntable to smooth out the frosting on top of the cake. If this pushes any frosting over the side of the cake, just use your frosting scraper to go around the sides again. When your cake is frosted, leave it on the turntable and put the whole thing in the fridge to chill again. This way, when you lift the cake off the turntable, it will be cold and the frosting will have set, so you won't smudge the frosting. I'm moving my biggest cake onto a cake drum, which will be the base of my 3-tier cake. I'm following the same technique to frost my next 2 tiers. And now I'm going to stack them using boba straws as a support structure. For more details on this, watch my tutorial How to Stack a Tier Cake. I was impatient, and I didn't chill these cakes after frosting them, so you can see that where I lifted them off the turntable, the frosting stuck to the turntable and got messy. Don't worry if this happens, it's easy to fix later. You can try to touch it up with an offset spatula, but I'll show you an easier way in a minute. Make sure your cake is chilled before trying to touch it up, otherwise you might smudge more of the frosting. Use a piping bag fitted with a small round tip, or a flat tip, and squeeze the frosting out around the base of the cake. Then use a frosting scraper to smooth the frosting against the side of the cake. Please like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to my channel to get more cake decorating tips and techniques. And now you can decorate it. Try a drip, or watch my tutorial on how to decorate a cake with fresh flowers. Thanks for watching!